Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hey everybody, welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, Kristin Stahlman.
Hi, Jay. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm pretty good.
Excellent.
Here's where we're at. You and I have was trying to get you on the show, and you had some trouble landing on a movie.
Uh-huh.
And
Because most of them had already been done.
right, and that's
Yeah.
that's the problem with being a guest on a podcast.
Yeah.
It's like 200 some odd episodes old
Absolutely.
almost.
Yes.
And then you came to me with Scarface.
Scarface.
And I was intrigued because I hadn't seen Scarface.
Did you watch it?
Of course I watched it.
Okay.
All 2 hours and 50 minutes of it.
Oh, God. It was so bad, right?
No. All right. This is my baseline thesis about Scarface.
Okay. Let's
And
hear
I
it.
want to, and I really, and I don't, I'm not here to convert you. I want to have a discussion with you. This is very intriguing to me. I think that
let's go for
Scarface is about as good of a movie like this can be, but also there's no way it should be regarded as like one of the greatest movies of all time. Like, it's really fun and entertaining, but there's so many like, you watch it and you're like,
Okay.
there's like a lot of problems with this movie, of course.
There's a lot of problems with it.
But I watched it and I couldn't help but be entertained. And I was just like, I was sitting in my couch at home just like, oh my God, he's gonna pull it off.
Okay, see, but like I think that might be the difference of being like a guy in your 20s who sees it for the first time, because you're still in your 20s, even though it's your
I'm
late
29,
20s. I'm
very
in
late.
my late 30s, and I didn't see this movie until this year.
Right.
So like I'm a woman in my late 30s who has spent my life dating, like Lou Misiano had discussed when you talked to him about Clockwork Orange.
Mhm.
Like the guys who have Scarface posters on their walls, that's the kind of guy I date.
Ugh.
And so for like years, I've had it like told to me that this was going to be the best movie and it was so good and it was iconic and they were modeling themselves after this dude. And this is a remake of a movie about Al Capone that
Right.
wasn't even a good remake of a movie about Al Capone.
It's a real, there's like a layer to this movie that I watched it and I was like, yeah, I'm very entertained. But I don't know why there's so many people who like love this movie.
Oh yeah, who
And
live
would
their
die
lives
for this movie and live their lives and have posters.
and think that they are gangsters, and they're not. They're
They're
always football players and athletes, and like not living at all a gangster lifestyle. Have very rarely struggled for
Right.
anything.
It's a lot of dudes in like boat shoes who are just like hanging out, spending all their dad's money on coke, and they're like, I'm Tony Montana. You're from Montana.
yeah,
Get
and
your
like,
shit together.
That's the thing, is like the first dude I knew who had legitimately a framed poster of the Scarface poster, like in a nice frame too.
Mhm.
His dad was like the owner of one of the largest peanut farms in Texas. So he was like a trust fund kid. I was like, you've never felt any kind of anything where you were lacking.
Right.
You never had to fight for your life. You've never had any like, oh no, this season you didn't get a new BMW. That's been the biggest hardship of your life. You're no Tony Montana, who I really want to be Tony Montoya. I really want him to be related to the guy
To
from
Inigo
Princess
Montoya?
Bride. Yes, and like
You killed my father, man.
there's just and hey, at least Mandy Patinkin can do an accent, because Al Pacino cannot do a Cuban accent. First off,
let's hold on before we go down into Al Pacino's performance. Let's first, just for reference, if you haven't seen Scarface,
oh,
a
God.
1983 American crime drama film directed by Brian DePalma and written by Oliver Stone, dynamic duo, real power couple right there. A remake of a 1932 film, which I didn't know was a remake until I started watching it, tells the story of Cuban refugee Tony Montana, who arrives in 1980s Miami with nothing and rises to become a powerful drug lord. It's got Al Pacino
Yeah.
just taking huge mouthfuls of scenery. Michelle Pfeiffer, Robert Loggia, F. Murray Abraham, Stephen Bauer, and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. You know what? I want to hear your experience watching it for the first time, but have you ever seen the trailer for it? Because I haven't. And
I have not.
I want to see the trailer for this movie.
Like, what made people want to go watch this? Because it was a huge hit.
It was a big hit at the box office, but critics did not like it. No, I can't hear anything. Maybe my headphones are still messed up.
What you call yourself?
Can you hear things?
Where'd you learn to speak the English?
Yeah,
Tom?
my headphones. There we go.
School.
Nope.
And my
Yep.
father, he was from the United States.
There we go.
Just like you know. He was a Yankee. He used to take me a lot to the movies, you know. I learned. I watched the guys like
that accent.
This is weird. This is not what I would expect from the Scarface trailer. Just a long shot of Al Pacino with a bad accent.
Okay, but
United States.
probably because they tried to do this as an NC-17 movie.
Oh, they didn't try to. They didn't want it to be NC-17.
Well, no,
It got
I mean,
rated at-
yeah,
it got
that's what
rated
I'm
at,
saying.
yeah.
Is like that was the original rating given to it. So they probably were just trying to come up with a trailer that didn't have, like a guy's arm getting cut off with a chainsaw.
Oh, I thought that chainsaw was going into his head.
The arms came off first, I
Then when you
think.
get the money, you
So
get the
bad.
power. Then when you get the power,
And we get the
Then
80s
you get the
soundtrack
woman.
coming in.
Oh, see, they should have,
Here we go.
instead of that, they should have had the scene where the guy was like licking his tongue in the air.
Right.
For one brief
Here we go.
the world was his.
Yeah, there we go. We're dancing. This looks like kind of aspirational in the trailer.
It looks like every frat boy I've ever met would love to live this life.
that's
It's horrible, and that's who has these posters. Look at that car. It's disgusting. It has tiger stripes inside of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of... My favorite character in this movie is Michelle Pfeiffer. Because Michelle Pfeiffer basically exists to be the person who's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you acting like this? This world you've created for yourself is fucking bonkers.
At least she gets out, right? And she gets out alive.
She gets out alive. Michelle Pfeiffer's the best part of this whole movie.
Because
Because she's casting aspersions on every character the entire time.
I will say this. I never thought about it like that because the whole time I spent it, I'm just like, God, they didn't even bother to try to get the powder off her nose.
Right.
Like, she spends the majority of the movie with, like, powder just caked on her nose.
Well, if
I
there's
get it's a Coke
anything-
story.
Yeah, there's no. This is not a movie where respecting women is like in high priority.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. But I feel like if somebody, like, they're not marketing this at all correctly toward me. They really should have played up the weird incest subplot
Oh yeah.
that no one ever mentioned to me when they were trying to sell me on this movie. The world is yours. That's supposed to be like the big, like,
With a
motivator for him is seeing that on the side of a blimp.
Al Pacino, Scarface.
Now that is a classic voiceover at the where they're like, he loved the American dream,
Yeah.
but the American dream has guns and violence. Now, you and I both have only seen this movie this year. What was your experience like watching Scarface?
Like, watching it, I mean, this movie came out the year that I was born. So it is as old as I am. And all I can think
1980
is
Trace.
they couldn't make a movie like this now. Well, I mean, they could, but it would be so different how they would have to make it.
Well, yeah, I think the biggest difference is that you're not going to get Al Pacino to play a Cuban guy.
You're not going to get any Italian American
Yeah,
because half
Robert
this
Loggia is not going to
cast,
play a Cuban guy either.
because half this cast is Italian people playing Cuban people.
Right.
And
They're all doing Cuban face.
Yeah, and like one of his sidekicks, the little short one that wears the hat the whole time, like he and then like his best friend were the two Cubans in the movie.
Uh-huh.
And they didn't even let the little sidekick talk because that dude actually like was how Al Pacino was trying to talk. I
Right.
can't imagine that he nailed it because I've heard Cubans speak and they don't sound like that at all.
They did, yeah. Robert Loggia. Then his sister's an Italian gal. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio.
Yeah.
Al Pacino is doing a Cuban accent, but it's not even
not good.
Who knows what that is? I can't tell what that fucking accent is actually supposed to be.
Can you imagine if you were told you can't have as many lines as you were supposed to in this film because the star was mimicking your accent and that's how they sounded?
Yeah.
What if people came up to you and like I was told this guy is like a famous comedian. And so like in the 70s and 80s, he was at the store all the time, but he couldn't talk in this movie because of Al Pacino's horrible, horrible Cuban accent.
It's such a shame, but they had at the time. It's like we're gonna go with casting the big name guy, and so they went with Al fucking Pacino. Hold on, I can't read that. Can you zoom in on that a little bit? Whatever is good or bad about Pacino's efforts to achieve a credible Cuban accent. Pacino did have a voice coach to work on the Cuban accent because one of Pacino's voice exercises spills into production.
Why would
for
they?
Al Pacino to get the Cuban accent right for his portrayal of Scarface, his vocal coach used the line, "Look at them pelicans fly," to help him perfect the accent. Pacino's characters are saying this in the scene. I was wondering why he did that.
That is awful.
I was wondering what was going on.
That explains why this movie is 2 hours and 50 minutes long, and nothing good happens in it. Nothing. Like you got, like I swear, you guys got off on it because there's guns and fighting and shit.
No. I got off on this movie because I love how 80s this movie is.
I mean, it's definitely 80s.
I love the aesthetic of the movie because I love 80s shit. I love neon. I love Giorgio Moroder. I love the color schemes and the excess.
Do you know what might be part of the problem with it though? Is like I dated a guy in Dallas who like his house was decorated like that.
See, yeah, it shouldn't be
And
decorated
so,
like
like-
that now.
So like when we broke up, I said I was like, your house looks like an 80s frat boy who got money and is trying to impress all of his frat boys, but like still in the 80s. And he was like, I decorated it myself. And I was like, you like Scarface too, don't
Yeah.
you? And it's definitely, it all lines up now. It's 100% 80s, but I feel like I might just be traumatized from too many bad dates.
Maybe.
With people who love this movie.
Did you watch this movie with somebody who was like, oh my God, this is the greatest movie of all time?
I did. I watched it with comedians that were like, you know what we should do? We should watch Scarface. And I was like, I've never seen it. They were like, oh my God, it's so good. And then like halfway through it, I was like, first of all, is this movie still happening? Why has nothing happened? Nothing has happened in the plot that makes me. None of these characters are redeemable except for Michelle Pfeiffer's character.
Michelle Pfeiffer's the best character in the whole movie.
And I would honestly say I would rather have like the whole movie be about the best friend and the sister getting it on the side and like their secret relationship that they have to have than ever spend another 2.5 hours watching Tony Montana do anything.
Right.
Because maybe that's what it is because like his story is kind of predictable. Like
Yeah. And there's a lot of the actual writing of the movie. When you get down to it, the screenplay has some scenes that I watched and I was like, I really like what you're doing here. I like all the stuff that's a commentary on like the level of the American government being involved in the drug trade in Central America and South
Absolutely.
America. Love that. I think that's great. I think that there's a lot of stuff in here where it's just like, this is really bad. What do we got highlighted here? When Scarface was re-released, the studio wanted Brian DePalma to change the soundtrack so that rap songs inspired by the movie could be used. DePalma refused. Smart.
There's over like 170 rap songs inspired by Scarface.
I'm a fan of several of those. One of my favorite rap, Immortal Technique, Peruvian Cocaine, has a clip from Scarface directly in it where it's the guy on the news, the journalist who they're supposed to assassinate.
Yeah.
And I didn't know because I'd never seen Scarface, but the beat for that song is pulled from the scenes in Bolivia.
Okay.
With the panpipes.
Okay.
Which is like a weird pull for a rap beat, but I was like, you know what? I'm into it. It reminds me
I
of
can
hanging out in
see
Texas
that.
at the Riverwalk and watching
Okay.
panpipe bands.
What is this other one that I've highlighted?
There's long been a myth that Pacino snorted real cocaine on camera. The cocaine used in the movie was supposedly powdered milk. But whatever it was, it created problems for Pacino's nasal passages for years after. But years after, I've had things up in there. I don't know what happened to my nose, but it's changed.
Yeah, because it's snorting shit up your nose.
Yeah.
It's like the Wolf of Wall Street. Jonah Hill got a pneumonia from snorting the powdered stuff that they had
Yeah.
up it. Like, don't snort stuff into your lungs. You just
But
God.
here, there's so many. This is one of my favorite facts about this movie. Is there's so many people who like take all of the wrong lessons from this movie.
Oh yeah.
To the point, the international corporation set up by Saddam Hussein to launder money from his various enterprises was called Montana Management
See?
because of what Tony Montana
Look at
did
the
in
kind of
Scarface.
people that are inspired by this movie, Jay.
It's insane.
Saddam Hussein. Okay.
If you're
That's-
looking, that's the thing. This movie is not something that people should hold as like, oh, I want to be like Tony Montana. Absolutely not.
Exactly.
The people who watch that movie, who watch this movie and are like, oh, I idolize Tony Montana. Y'all are fucking idiots. Because this is not the movie. This is not a movie about Tony Montana being good and redeemable. This is a movie about like, this is what happens when hubris comes into play.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think setting it in the 80s and making all this excess, like, and having all this stuff, like when they played Push It to the Limit, which I did not realize was composed for Scarface, the Push It to the Limit montage,
my.
I was just like, oh, I'm in. I was literally bouncing up and down and like doing air punches along with the song because I was like, this is it. This is where it's at, man. Right here.
There's just
Yep, here we go. Push It to the Limit scene.
Oh wow. I do appreciate a good montage. I admire a good montage.
And see, look, it's just guys laughing on the phone.
Yeah.
And here we go, counting money.
But there's certain things like they never explain the scar on the side of his face, the massive scar he has on the side of
No,
his
he's
face.
the Scarface guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
look, listen, now we're gonna start fucking around with this bank guy. We're gonna bring in here comes a banker. Oh no, why are they bringing in all these duffel bags? What's happening?
It'd be funnier if it was just body parts.
Oh no, this is the part where he's like, "Hey, Tony, hey, it's nice to see you, buddy." And it's just like, I love this music.
This inspired Saddam Hussein.
You can't not like love this song and this sequence, which is like a great montage.
This is
There's no reason for them to be walking across and showing that.
What in a beauty salon?
There's no.
Oh, he just bought his
he's buying
sister.
his sister a beauty
See,
salon.
I feel like I blacked out a lot of this. I made this movie shorter in my mind so that it wouldn't be in my mind.
But there's fun like this. Like, see, look at Michelle Pfeiffer. She's like, this. I can't believe I'm in this fucking movie.
Yeah,
And then
she
just
would
counting
rather be Married to the Mob.
And here we go.
You
We
know?
got Captain Lou Albano showing up. And now the banker guy's like, uh-oh, what did I get myself into? And you're surprised he's not like throwing his hands up and mugging for the camera. Yep, look, wedding with a fountain, 4 pools.
Isn't this their backyard?
Yeah,
Yeah, everything about
the extras
this.
who showed up, they're like, we got to get in the shot or else
Even
we're not going to
in-
get our SAG vouchers.
Like even in the 80s, this was tacky. That's the thing. It's tacky.
it is.
But it's not John Waters fun tacky. It's just tacky
See,
tacky.
I don't think it's John Waters fun tacky. I think it's Brian DePalma fun tacky.
Okay.
Because I think that's the problem is people looking at this movie taking it seriously. I think
See,
you and I have the same critique.
I want that relationship to be explored.
better.
I want to watch what happens here that ends up with, spoiler alert, him being shot by his best friend.
Right.
In front of his brand new
In
wife.
front of his brand new wife, who they were like, we were gonna surprise you. We were gonna surprise you, Tony. We're actually been in love this whole time. And then they
Yeah.
bring in that other like fun incest layer of like, uh-oh, did you actually want to fuck your sister the entire time,
the
Tony?
entire time, and this thing
And
where
she
he
leans
just bought
into
a
it.
tiger. Oh,
Look at this!
God.
Look at this!
Everything
Fucking
about it is
portrait
so
of themselves.
tacky.
Ugh.
Also, look at the way he's looking at his sister with her titties out.
Yeah.
Like, her
'Cause Tony
titties are out.
Montana wants to fuck his sister.
Exactly.
Michelle Pfeiffer's like, God, he wants to fuck his sister. What am I going to do about
Only married
this?
me because I was the boss's chick.
Yeah.
And look, powder on her nose. It looks like somebody actually just took a powder puff and like poofed it on her nose.
There's so many parts of this movie where I'm like, it's fun and I like it for stuff like that. Like this sequence when they're at the pool and Tony is talking to his friend before he does the tongue flick thing. He's like, obviously this isn't gonna work. You gotta like,
Oh yeah.
this is a fucking farce. There's no way this is gonna work. And he shows up and then he goes to the kids. He's like, watch my idiot friend. And then they pull it off.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The idiot friend, first of all, the idiot friend is hot. And if the idiot friend, if I had been these women in the 80s and his hot idiot friend had walked up to me and done that, I probably would have slept with him. I'm not gonna lie.
But that's the thing. This is to show like how these are dumb, misogynistic dudes.
Oh yeah, they're horrible. Except that he's not really that horrible later on. He's really good to the sister that he marries.
Right, but this is after he has to get, he gets his.
Yeah, somebody
to
has
learn.
to slap him in the face.
Exactly.
I probably would have slapped him in the face, but then still been like, but you were pretty good with your tongue there. Here's my number. That's the scene they cut out.
Look, yeah. He's so excited.
I'd really like to see people
Watch these
bring the
kids.
khakis look back.
I gotta stop him. I gotta watch my friend. He's gonna stick his tongue out.
And the mom is just like, yeah,
Letting
you can talk to
him.
my kids.
Hey, yo, you see what happened to him? Hey.
And see that stuff like this that I'm like, yeah, this is fun. All right, cool. I'm
I
on
mean,
board with
it's
this.
ridiculous and fun, but like if the movie was just like these ridiculous things and didn't end up being like this weird Coke fest, I will say this, that is kind of what it is like if you've ever been around people who do a lot of Coke. Like it starts off all fun and games and flicking your tongue at chicks at the pool, and it ends up with being shot.
It becomes this very quick. It becomes don't fuck me, Tony.
Don't fuck me, Tony. Don't you ever try to fuck me.
So much melodrama.
I mean,
And
everyone gets fucked in this movie.
And it's just like, it's beautiful. The level of insane, high pitched up. If you're looking at this movie and watching it seriously, you are the problem.
I agree with that.
The people who love, I love when people get into like a moral panic about a movie, and Scarface developed a moral panic too. Everybody, see this sequence. I love this because it's just.
Oh yeah,
You
it's
got Robert
ridiculous.
Loggia begging in front of like somebody's 1980s Windows screensaver. Just palm trees.
I think I've stayed in that hotel though. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like I've definitely stayed in that hotel. Probably
probably
in the
have, too.
80s. It might still just be up on Sunset.
It might be. They probably have rooms renovated to look like this. Like, you know how in Airbnbs there's like, we have a themed room that's themed around the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Absolutely. I feel like they could, but this whole
See, this sequence is just, it's great because
it's ridiculous.
it's so ridiculous.
But also, I feel like who ends up killing everyone at the end? He gets raided by both the
Oh,
Cuban
no, he
drug
gets-
lords that he.
It's all drug lord.
But didn't he also get raided by the police at the same time?
No.
See, that's the thing. This movie, just like at the end of it, it's just I don't care enough about these characters.
It's all this guy because he fucked him.
Okay.
Because he fucked him by having a heart and not wanting to blow up
Okay, but
a wife and kids.
that is supposed to be the real drug dealer dude.
Yeah.
The coke dude. But
That's what's that character's name?
the guy from Blow.
Yeah. The guy who they Alejandro Sosa.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of all of my Latino drug dealers, and I'm like, not El Chapo.
By the way,
Too new.
here's this just to lay into the ridiculousness of this movie and why there's this. Here are the names of characters in this movie:
Yeah.
Chi-Chi,
Oh yeah, I know.
Nick the Pig, Hector the Toad, Alberto the Shadow,
Okay,
the Skull.
but have you ever heard
and
like
Jerry.
real mafia names though? They are stupid like
I
that.
know. That's what I'm saying.
I
It's
mean,
like
they-
we lean it, but that's the thing is like you have when Michelle Pfeiffer goes off on Tony in the restaurant. She's like, the only person I'm allowed to hang out with is Nick the Pig. How
Yeah.
dare you? That's my best friend.
Nick the Pig. The whole thing in the restaurant with her and
This
okay,
this
see,
sequence is great.
they spend so many times in this restaurant with her and him just yelling at each other for no reason.
but we need a scene like this.
Oh. Real contribution to human history.
Go ahead. Tell everybody. Come on.
You want a kid?
Tell the world.
What kind of a father do you think you are?
Come on.
Are you gonna drive him to school in the morning? Are you even gonna be alive by the time the kid goes to school?
Oh, see.
You don't even know how to be a husband.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
I'd like to believe that this Michelle Pfeiffer ended up married to Alec Baldwin and became the Michelle Pfeiffer that was a strong, independent woman and married to the mob.
What kind of life is that?
Michelle
got
Pfeiffer
away
knows.
from this.
She's getting away. Then scroll. There should be. I think at the very. It's I hope it's in this clip. The very end of it, where he goes off on everybody at the restaurant. Yeah. It's right. It should. He starts to like fall over. Yeah, here we go.
People like me.
And see, not even from a ridiculous standpoint, I love this particular
You need
monologue.
people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. Oh? What that make you? Good? Not good.
He's making like good points about
You
the
just know how to
wealthy
hide.
and
That's
the way they
true.
look at people, and they try and keep their hands clean. But the problem is, this sequence, this
I
monologue,
don't have that problem.
does not feel like it fits into this movie.
No, because that's the thing.
I always
It's
tell
like
them.
the redeeming qualities of this movie
Even
don't
when I
fit
lie.
into this
They don't.
because
This
this
movie-
movie is bad.
It can either be a really fun B movie or it can be a good gangster movie, and it's not. And
Say
it's
good
and
night
it's
to the bad guy.
it's the movie's
Come on.
excess. The movie's the 80s. The movie's 3 hours
Yeah.
long.
Last time
and
you
it
gonna
and it's
see a bad guy
an
like
insane
this.
movie. And I was checked out for maybe the first 20 minutes of it, up until when he gets out of the holding facility, or the
Okay.
refugee place. I was like, I'm not interested in this. I don't care about this. Then as soon as all the gangster shit starts happening, then I'm like, you know what? This is entertaining.
Okay, but like that's
then
what
I
I'm
get
saying.
sucked in.
Is like there's so much of it that could have been cut. This could have
Yeah.
been a really good hour and a half movie.
I would even let this, hour and a half,
I would
maybe
give
even
it
2
2.
hours. Yeah.
But that extra 50 minutes, the 20 minutes in the holding cell.
I don't need any of that.
I feel like we are not taking into account a lot of just like sweeping shots of
Mhm.
excess. The amount of time they spent in that club,
yeah.
the amount of time they spend in just like
The-
fancy restaurants.
This bubble bath sequence where they just show off him floating around in his giant jacuzzi tub with 4
with
TVs.
TVs going on and her in the background, of course, doing cocaine.
Right. There's a lot of
And
the stuff
just
that I'm like, this is fun and entertaining, but also like
not necessary.
you gotta. There's a point where you gotta lean into the excess of it, and then also say we got to figure out how to cut this off so we can edit effectively.
Like,
It's just like this set design, mind blowing. I love it. I love how insane this movie is, because you see how insane Tony Montana as a character is.
yeah.
Then you got to hear Al Pacino's dumb fucking accent.
That's horrible.
By the
so
way,
bad.
Going back to Moral Panic, this movie originally was rated X. This is
Yeah.
before NC-17 was a thing.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why is because it says fuck the most out of any time at that time in the movie, and we have a counter here.
Right. No.
And I want to. There's how many? What's the total number at?
It's something like
195.
200 something, isn't it?
Okay. Let's watch it. Let's take a look every time.
No, but my question is, I want to know what movie ended up beating it. Was it Showgirls? Because they say that a lot in Showgirls.
I don't think so. I'm gonna pull that up.
Or something by Quentin Tarantino. Here's the thing: if they took out, like that's what I'm saying, if they took out 2.5 minutes of the word "fuck," I.
Fucking peasant.
Fuck.
Who, why, when, and how I fuck is none of your business, okay?
Now you're talking to me, baby. That I like.
Fuck it, fuck.
He's so gross. Like, why? I'm glad that she finally stands up to him and leaves him in the restaurant.
Right.
because-
Oh, me too.
Because she just gets passed around from coke dealer to coke dealer. Like, it's nothing.
Look at this zoom in.
What the fuck you want?
Uh oh.
Fuck though. Fuck.
I do like how he says fucking cockroach in that scene like 5 times.
Cockroach.
I don't give a
See,
fuck.
I want to see a bring back of the 80s fashion.
That's what I love. The fashion, the style. I think there's so much of this movie that is fun. It's like when I watched Flashdance for this show, I wanted to not like it. Because I was like, there's no way I'm going to like this. It's a movie about a gal dancing.
Right.
It's not my kind of movie. Same with Scarface. Scarface, I'm watching and I'm like, it's not my kind of movie.
It's not at all. I'm never going to watch this movie again. That's the thing.
But
Ever.
That's the thing. I would watch this movie again.
Well, see, then
I'd watch it in all of its fucks.
you've
in
wasted
all of its
29 years of your life not watching it.
But I would watch it from the standpoint of knowing from the get-go how ridiculous this movie. Look at this. Look at that scene. This whole sequence.
When she shoots him in the knee while she's screaming at him
Right.
about how he
And
wants to fuck her.
this is so insane.
Stupid.
The fact that the whole final fight sequence, I remember reading some reviews of it where people are like, it's a blood orgy. It's a cacophony of blood.
Accurate.
And it's just like, yeah, it is. What's wrong with that? Let it be a crazy, melodramatic, insane sequence. Just like this sequence where Gina talks to him and she's like, did you want to have sex with me this whole time? Because I think you did.
I think he did too. Look at how, who takes their sister out to buy sexy? I do not know any men that go with their sisters to buy them sexy low-cut gowns. I don't know. Do you have sisters?
I have a younger sister.
Would you go with her to pick out her
Lingerie?
that
No.
dress that he bought for her when they went and
That was
he's
a robe.
eyeball-
It's crazy.
No, that was a dress.
No. It's like this. It had the tie in the middle.
Yeah, that's a wrap dress, Jay.
What is this?
This is a robe.
I see. It's the same.
It's not the same. You just need to look up Diane von
Oh,
Furstenberg
boy.
later, and you'll figure that out. No, she was buying a.
But this
Okay.
whole sequence is so insane, and I love it because it's like we're gonna really lean into the insanity and ridiculousness of this movie.
Oh, I think this is also one of my. When the women in this movie get their shit together, they get their shit together.
Yeah.
They mean it. That is one of the things I like. But you spend a lot
Secretly
of
a
the
feminist
movie.
masterpiece. This movie.
If you can get past all of the coke, they just there is that one point where I'm just just lean over and just shove it up her nose for her.
Right.
But when they do get their shit together, they mean it. But
God.
look, when they shoot his sister who he wants to fuck, even when she's shooting him,
Yep.
this is what sets him off and he goes crazy.
Yeah. Now,
I'd like to
Obviously-
believe she survives.
I don't think she does. Nobody gets out of this movie alive.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. Because Michelle Pfeiffer's the GOAT. Now, if there's anything in this movie, is that a wrap dress or is that a robe?
That's a
Let's
wrap
go back to that.
dress.
Let's go back to that. I gotta.
It's a silky,
don't know
dilky
where
wrap.
it
It's
is.
a silky wrap dress that you wear to turn your brother on.
It looks like a robe to me.
Look
it looks
at
like
how-
it's the same clothes, but they just spray.
Look
painted
at the back of
differently.
it. No, that's a wrap dress. That's
Whatever.
a 1980s disco wrap dress.
That's what you go to club. What was the name of the club in this movie? Where Richard Belzer is?
Oh,
Richard Belzer, by
God.
the way, just the perfect impression of a bad hacky
And
comedian
is
at
the
time.
best thing about the movie, as far as I'm concerned.
He's really fun. Okay, so what do you think people should watch instead of Scarface?
If you're gonna watch a mob movie,
Yeah.
or a drug dealer movie,
Let's go with mob, drug, crime.
If I was gonna
movie.
go with drug, I'd go Blow.
over this,
Yeah, because
ugh.
honestly, here's the other thing. I don't really like watching drug movies.
Okay.
I'd rather do drugs than watch other people do drugs and ruin their lives. So
Club Babylon.
So I
That's the
would
one.
say if you're going to watch a drug movie, watch that movie 28 Days with Sandra Bullock and Alan Tudyk about rehab. So,
I've never even heard of this movie.
it's fantastic.
Okay.
Alan Tudyk has a whole monologue about getting his foreskin back. It's beautiful.
Oh boy.
Exactly. Now, if I was going to watch a gangster movie though, I like a funny gangster movie. The one with Michael Keaton in it. Johnny
Mnemonic?
No, it's like Johnny Rocket or something. I don't remember.
That's what
And-
they named the whole restaurant chain.
Yay, Myanmar's dad.
I have no. Yeah, that's the thing.
I would say but
I think there's but that's the thing. This movie, yeah, if you want to lean into like the seriousness, go with a proper mob movie like
Yeah.
The Departed or something like that.
Yeah.
If you want to lean into Johnny Dangerously.
Johnny Dangerously. I knew it was something ridiculous.
There we go.
But like that's the other thing is like I don't really enjoy watching people ruin their lives and kill each other. It's just not my thing. I'm not a big war movie fan.
Fair.
I'm not a bit like if I want to watch a movie, I want to go, I want to get some laughs. If I want to get like watch people murder each other, I want to watch something that is like unrealistic. So give me like a horror movie.
I mean, I
or
think
science
Scarface
fiction.
is pretty fucking unrealistic.
Except that you know what you say that, but like
But
it
this
is
is
based on Al Capone,
Right.
who like the reason that he got caught was because he was just murdering everyone.
I mean, it's all based. It's based on a true story.
And people still like just murder people left and right in this country. I feel like watch Scarface as a reminder of why we need gun control.
Fair enough. I think that's a good note to end on. Kristen, thanks for coming in.
Jay Light, thank you for having me.
Where can the listeners find you if they want to chat you up on social media and
I am
tell you that they're burning their Scarface
Oh
posters?
God, they're not going to. They're going to ask me out on dates. That's how it works. I am on Twitter and I am on Facebook and Instagram at Kristin Stahlman. It's KristinStahlman.
Sweet. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for show dates. Tell a friend about the show if you like it. Join the Facebook group. Join the Patreon. Thank you, Betterbox, for hosting. Thank you, Kristen. You're
Thank
a great,
you.
wonderful time. I'm so glad we could finally get this. You can escape
Absolutely.
the snow and come here
I
and do the
came
show.
down- Like I live in LA County and still had to escape the snow. Figure it out.
Insane. This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.